All right, my name is Ed Sikes. I work for Mirka Abrasives. I've been with them for 21 years. I've sold abrasives for about 40 years. So.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so you have some questions?
Yeah. So what line of sandpaper would you recommend to prep the wood for finishing?
Okay, we have several different choices.
Yeah.
We just came out with a product called Ligno. It is Latin for wood. It's designed not to load, and you can use it in any species of wood, including some of the exotics that you use for instruments.
Yep.
We make it from 40 grit to 400 grit in several different forms, so I would recommend trying it first.
Mm-hmm. Is there a recommended standard procedure to sand the wood in terms of like what would be the ideal grit to prepare it for a finish?
Well, there's a couple of rule of thumbs, especially with wood, to use as coarse as possible, but as fine as needed. And what that means is you'll get longer life if you can run coarser, but it has to suit your finishing needs also. Another rule of thumb is never jump more than 1 grit. If you start with 80 grit, you can't go to 220 grit. It won't get those scratches out. You have to go from 80 to 120 or 120 to 180.
Right.
Okay, so those are the 2 rules of thumb that you need to remember.
Is there a grit of sandpaper that is not ideal for adhesion of the finish? Meaning, if you go up to like 600, is that bad or something?
It can be, especially on wood. If you get it too fine, if you get it too finished, too slick, you will have an adhesion problem with your coatings.
Okay.
It'll slide off the wood.
Right.
Okay? But on the other hand, with your top coats, as fine as you want to get the most gloss and the most that you need.
That was actually my next question. So when the finish is applied, it's all dry, right? Which of the line of abrasives would you recommend to flat sand and then polish?
Well, the rule of thumb with that is usually a film product will give you a flatter finish because it's a flatter material.
Yeah.
We manufacture abrasives on different backings, including cloth, paper, and film. Cloth is resilient, but it doesn't finish because it's rough.
Yeah.
Paper is stronger, but it finishes flatter, but it still tears. Okay. Film is your best product to choose in the finer grits because number one, it will flatten the best, and in the finer grits, it will give you the best finish as far as a top coat. Okay,
awesome. Yeah. And for example, in the guitar world, some people finish guitars with polyester, which is a very hard resin, right?
Two-part or catalyzed.
Exactly. Yeah. So sometimes you start sanding at 600 and up, and then when you are doing the 3000, you find that there is still a lot of scratches, right?
Yeah.
So what would you recommend to avoid that, and which of your products will be ideal kind of thing?
Again, I would recommend the film product, and I would start as coarse as necessary, like 1,000 grit even, or 2,000. Okay. You can always go down and then go back up. And then in the 3000, we make a product called Abralon that works very well. I would recommend a two-step process. Yep. Cut it down flat with the film, then come back with a product like Abralon to get your gloss back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the last question. Sometimes there is confusion between silicon carbide and aluminum oxide, meaning like what should I use and what's the purpose of each one of them? So if you can tell me anything about that would be great.
When you look at different grains, they have different usages. Basically, the difference between aluminum oxide is used most extensively because it's a tough, rounded grain. Yep. Silicon carbide is a sharpened grain because it's derived from glass. And that means you'll get a better finish, but you sacrifice life with silicon carbide. So the aluminum oxide lasts longer, but the silicon carbide finishes better. Okay. So then again, it becomes a matter of choice. If finish is more important to you, get a better finish with silicon. If you want life, you probably need to look at an aluminum oxide or ceramic product.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your help. That was amazing.
Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Take care.